What's up YouTube, it's your boy Grassy TV back with another Hero Siege video. Season 5 begins on December 13th and has been fully loaded with over 200 new sub-skill trees across all classes, as well as new items and runes, a Hero Siege style mapping system, a rebirth of glyphs, angelic augments, better Chaos Tower scaling, much needed performance improvements across the game, and so freaking much more. I am super excited to explore the new season and very humbled to be making content on this awesome game. Today I present to you my starter build guide for the Summoner Necromancer in Season 5. The Necromancer is a spellcaster who relies on summoning and poison-based magic to dominate the battlefield. It offers a mix of passive gameplay through its durable minions and active gameplay with a range of spells and curses. This build offers a smooth leveling process for both beginner and advanced players. In this guide, you'll find information on build functionality, a step-by-step leveling guide, a full gearing section, and much more. Let's get started. Let's review some pros and cons of the Summoner Necromancer. First, you have a ton of meat shields that keep you away from danger. These summons also have a single target and an AoE spec for bossing or clear. You have a built-in curse for Arcane Break and the ability to telestomp enemies at level 60. However, there are a lot of freaking buttons on this build. I currently have F1 through F8, Q, Z, spacebar, left click, and right click, all bound to a minion or support skill. Now, you're not going to be using every single one of these all the time, but anytime you join a new game, you have to resummon your minions, which for me is essentially F1 through F8. You'll also have to trust in the summon AI to work. Because you have so many minions, sometimes they're a little bit finicky. Your clear is fairly average until high gear investment, as well as min-maxing or really scaling this build far will be very expensive, but it's still a good league starter. Let's take a look at some of the skills and passives that make the Summon Necromancer work. First, you have an arsenal of minions as your main damage. You have Raised Skeletons, Raised Skeleton Mage, Summon Damned Legions, and Summon Vengeful Spirits. All of these minions have their own attack animation, as well as with the new sub-skill trees, each one of these minions gets its own sub-skill tree. You also have some minion passives and an active. So Summon Mastery will increase the life and arcane damage of all of our minions, as well as Summon Resistances gives them a ton of all res and physical damage reduction. Summon Frenzy is an active that will temporarily enrage summons, increasing their attack speed and movement speed. You also get access to amplified damage. This will curse enemies in a target area, decreasing their damage dealt and inflicting an arcane break. Necromancer also has access to meat shield. This will give you reduced physical damage taken for a duration. And for some auxiliary damage, we have corpse explosion. This will cause all corpses in a target area to explode and deal arcane damage. And with the new sub-skill tree, we actually turn corpse explosion into an aura that will automatically pop corpses for us. If you enjoy my content or find it useful, please consider donating. I am dedicating all donations and stream revenue in December to go towards my mom's fight with cancer. Of course, donating is not required to view my content, and I won't treat anybody differently, so only support if you can do so comfortably. To all of my contributors, thank you guys so freaking much. It's so hard to express how much that really means to me, so thank you. Within the written guide is a section designed to teach a few Hero Siege leveling basics to newer or returning players. If you're in this category, be sure to check that out, as it is really good information to have whenever you're leveling from 1 to 100. Next, let's talk about how to allocate points into our skill tree while we level. Use the tabs below to show the skill tree progression as you level. Keep in mind some classes may have multiple trees for AoE clearing, single target, or utility options. Starting at level 1, we're going to put 1 point into Raised Skeleton, the rest of our points going into Bone Tread. You'll use Bone Tread for your clear and your minion just to help you tank. If you want to go full minions from the start, you're welcome to do that. It is a little bit slower than having Bone Tread, but this is completely up to you. At level 8, you'll put 1 point into Meat Shield, 1 point into Meat Bomb, 1 point into Amplified Damage. This is a curse debuff. 1 point into Skelly Mage, and then split the rest of your points between Skelly Warriors and your Summon Mastery. Also, you will need a respec in order to do this. At level 16, you'll continue to split your points between Skelly Warriors and Summon Mastery. At 24, you'll put 1 point into Damned Legion and continue maxing your Raised Skeleton. At level 30, you're going to respec one more time, put 1 point into Meat Shield, 1 point into Meat Bomb, 1 point into Amplified Damage, 1 point into Skelly Warrior, 1 point into Skelly Mage, 1 point into Damned Legion. The rest of your points are going to split between Summon Mastery and Vengeful Spirit. I have tested this a little bit. You can dump all 20 points into Vengeful Spirit with the rest of them going into Summon Mastery, but it does cause some of your other minions to die fairly quickly, so I preferred this. At level 60, we're going to put 1 point into Corpse Explosion. This is our Explosion Aura. 1 point into Poison Nova. We're going to use this for teleporting. We'll max Vengeful Vengeful Spirit, max Summon Mastery, and put the rest of our points into Skelly Mage. At level 80, you'll max your Skelly Mages, put the rest into Skelly Warriors. Your Damn Legion is a bit higher damage synergy, but the Warriors offer more bodies for tanking. And here's a look at our final level 100 skill tree. You'll put 1 point into Meat Shield. This is your physical damage reduction buff. 1 point into Meat Bomb. You'll use this to spawn corpses to bring your boys up. 1 point into Corpse Explosion for your explosion aura. 1 point into Poison Nova for your teleport skill. You'll max Skelly Warrior, max Skelly Mage, put 1 point into Damn Legion. The Damn Legion actually will buff your other minions. Max Vengeful Spirit and put the rest of your points in Amplified Damage, which is a curse debuff. Sub-skill trees are a new feature in Season 5. Simply click on the plus sign in the top right of the skill you're looking to spec into, and a new window will pop up. You gain 1 point for every 5 character levels for every skill that you have allocated. You can reset this tree anytime for free, as well as you can have 1 augment per skill. Listed below are all these sub-skill trees that I recommend while leveling. Just a heads up, Necromancer has a lot of sub-skill trees. Starting with the first one, we have Skelly Warriors. This tree focuses on skeletons being your front line and never dying because they have Leech, as well as they get a ton of movement speed to get from pack to pack very quickly. The second is Skelly Mages. This tree focuses on your mages creating mini AoE damage circles. This tree is assumed that you already have a Valkyrie bow on your Merc for Fanaticism aura. If you don't, take all of your points out of Dark Bolt and place them into Unholy Grasp for more attack speed. Third is Damned Legion. This tree focuses on turning your Damned Legions into support archers. They will proc undead leadership as much as possible, giving your other minions attack speed and damage. Fourth is Vengeful Spirits. This tree focuses on maximum Vengeful Spirit amount, giving their attack a chance to fork and chain and self-heal. Later, you can put points into Hostile Intelligence for increased damage, but until you have a lot of gear, you won't have the int to make it worth it. Fifth is Meat Bomb. This tree focuses on creating as many corpses as possible and giving you a large source of life replenish on hit. Sixth is Corpse Explosion. This tree turns Corpse Explosion into an aura that automatically explodes corpses in its range indicator. We have opted for maximum area of effect for this supplemental damage and free MTX. And seventh is Poison Nova. This tree turns Poison Nova into a teleport skill and has a chance for projectiles to debuff enemies, reducing their damage dealt and slowing them. Let's talk about attribute allocation. Skills can be quite expensive to use early, especially as you put more and more points into them. It's increasing the mana cost. You will want to put points into energy until you can find your first flat skill damage item, as well as some sustain so you're not chugging on mana pots. After that, follow a 50-50 split rule between intelligence and vitality. You'll do 2 points intelligence, 2 points vitality for every level. Let's move on to gearing. This section is designed to give you workable suggestions on what gear to acquire at different stages of the game. You as a player need to look at your current gear and figure out what options make the most sense for you. Due to the addition of the sub-skill trees, there are item procs or combinations that will not be listed here as they aren't discovered yet. It's up to you to experiment. Alongside gearing in Season 5 is star levels. Be sure to check out my star levels video explain for more information, but this is really for more advanced players and won't affect your playthrough. So don't worry, none of the gear that I'm using in this guide has star levels on it, as it is not required to complete any content in the game. For most of leveling, you'll be searching for rare or mythic items that match your character's damage type, but you may come across some satanics that also make sense to use. I cannot guarantee you dropping a specific satanic, nor will you stop leveling to farm for a specific satanic, so my gear recommendations will not include them. Rune words, however, are nearly guaranteed, as the bases are very common and you can obtain rune from completing quests in Act 1 Normal, Nightmare, and Hell, then using the Prospect Station in Act 1 to downgrade runes to the ones that you need. This does not include the runes that you'll naturally drop playing the game. Be sure to check the runes level requirement and the white bases level requirement to ensure that you meet the requirement for both. The in-game journal is a bit misleading on the minimum level requirements for starter rune words, so best to check for yourself. Just a reminder, while we're leveling, we are mainly looking for normal through mythic items, so here are some weapon affixes to look out for. And some rune word options to consider. The first is Sky Song. You can use this as early as level 29. You can make it in any tier of base. Just make sure that it's a Spellblade or a one-handed sword. Second is Torment. You can use this as early as level 36. Again, you can make it in any tier of base, but you need to make sure that you make this in a wand. This is a Necro-specific rune word. It's very, very strong. Highly recommend. Here are some offhand affixes to look for. Rune word options to consider. First is Sky Song. Again, you can use this as early as level 29. This is your offensive option. You'll make it in a shield. Second is Divine Contemplation. You can use this as early as level 21. This is your defensive option. It has a ton of resistance on it. You can make this in any 3-socket shield. Here are some helmet affixes to look for. A rune word option to consider is Scholar. You can use this as early as level 27. It does have a skill on it, some mana on kill, as well as some physical damage reduction. Here are some chest affixes to look for. Rune words to consider. The first is Shadow. You can use this as early as level 17. It does have 25% movement speed as well as 25% faster cast rate on it. Second is Angle Oxuana. You can use this as early as level 35. This has up to 4 skills, some faster cast rate, arcane skill damage, and minus enemy arcane resistance. It's a very strong chest. Here are some glove affixes to look for. Here are some boot affixes to look for. Be sure to prioritize movement speed, as traversing through zones is important. A couple rune words to consider. The first is Quick Steps. This is going to give you the most amount of movement speed. And second is Ghost. This is a better option as you do get +2 skills, some physical and magical damage reduction, as well as movement phasing, allowing you to move through enemies and objects. However, you do need a Mal rune, and you're most likely only going to get this from your Act 1 quests in Normal Nightmare or Hell. This is up to you. Personally, I wouldn't prospect down a Vex or a Ghoul into a Mal. So unless you get the Mal specifically, probably not worth until later. Here's some belt affixes to look for. Here's some ring affixes to look for. Here are some amulet affixes to look for. And lastly, here are some charm affixes to look for. As a fresh level 100 character, there really isn't best in slot gear at this point. Most items could be swapped with strong mythics. Item decisions are going to revolve around how your character feels over direct power upgrades. For example, if your character has a built-in teleport but low cast rate, choosing items that have higher, faster cast rate than others can make the build feel more smooth to play. You could put any combination of these budget items together and feel capable of completing Hell difficulty and begin pushing difficulties. Do not underestimate how strong mythic items can be, especially with the new star level system. Starting with weapons, our 3 rune word options are Sky Song, Torment, and Divinity. Try and look for an intelligence, magic skill damage, arcane skill damage, or plus skills bases. Torment is a Necromancer specific wand, and you're most likely only going to make Divinity if you find a lucky Vex. We also have Wraithbone and Voodoo Magician's Skull. These are summon specific options. If you find them or you can grab them cheap from the market, these will serve you well as well. And Dragon Knight's Flail is a poor man's Divinity. For offhands, we have Sky Song and Divine Contemplation. Both these are good options. Sky Song is an offensive option. Divine Contemplation is a defensive option. For helmets, if you're still wearing a Scholar, it's easily replaceable. Creator of Secrets has up to 25% all res, and magic skill damage, 40 FCR, and up to 2 skills. Deathlord's Crown has up to 3 skills with 15 intelligence. This is also magic skill damage. And Crown of the Midnight is probably our best option here. We get 3 skills and up to 30% magic skill damage. For chest, Angle Oxuana is by far the best option. It's very cheap to make and very strong. If you need resistances, Grand Wizard's Robe is also a good option. 2 skills, 30% FCR, some physical damage reduction up to 35% all res. Heaven's Might is another good option. You get up to 4 skills with some physical and magical damage reduction, 100 vitality, and up to 6 sockets. For gloves, you have Conjured Mitts, Anubis' Mighty Hands, Mevius' Mighty Gauntlets, Zealot's Deathbringers, or Wisdom Holds. Any of these gloves will serve you well. It just really depends on your budget. For boots, you can go with Wizard Boots. They have a +1 on there with 10 intelligence. If you're looking for the most movement speed, Quick Steps would be your option. The best option here is probably Ghost, just because you get +2 skills, some physical and magical damage reduction, as well as movement phasing, so you can move through objects and enemies. And if you find a +3 Grand Wizard Silk Shoe, these can be a decent option as well. However, you don't get very much movement speed. For belts, Viper Magi gives you 20% FCR and 15 all res. Knight's Girdle is +2 with a little bit of vitality and some physical damage reduction. Commander's Sash is my preferred choice as you do get the 1 skill, a little bit of sustain, physical damage reduction, and up to 20% all res. For rings, you have Kodo's Wedding Band. This gives +1 up to 30% movement speed and 215 nice. It's very nice. Iron Ring of Prometheus is good if you're trying to teleport around into different zones, or maybe you're boss rushing. This also gives you a couple of resistances. Absence of Constraint has up to 25 FCR and 18 arcane skill damage. And Satanic Eye is great if you're trying to cap your resistances. For amulets, any of these options will work. Unfathomable Puzzle, Shining Pearl, All-Seeing Eye, Dark Lord Sigil. Dark Lord Sigil is probably the best option here as it does give you 2 skills, up to 30% arcane skill damage. But I can see the benefit of running All-Seeing Eye, having 3 skills and up to 50% magic find. Here's some affixes to look for on Mythic Charms. Satanic Charms aren't really an early game buy. They'll be rather expensive, but I would rather show you a couple options to look out for while you're grinding. The first is Moonshard. This can get up to -35% arcane resistance with a 75% arcane resistance penalty to you. Second is Damien's Cage. You can get up to +3 arcane skills with up to 35 intelligence. This is also magic skill damage, very strong. As far as balancing goes, this part is still underway in the beta. I will be testing making all builds live on Twitch and updating this section in the written guide as I do, but I would rather have this section empty than to steer players in the wrong direction. Here's a list of all the relics that work with this build. You're going to have to decide on your best option based on your current gear, stats, and build feel. However, the first 4 are the ones that I recommend, with the utility options being the remaining. Currently in Season 5, Mercenaries generally only have one purpose, being a magic find or a bot. Mercenary magic find is applied to your on-kill magic find, so we will be stacking as much as we can get. Here's the Mercenary skill tree I recommend. And for gear, again, generally we're looking for the most magic find. However, for weapons, there is Aurora's Might, which can give you a huge resistance bonus on your character early. Once you've solved your resistances for your character, any of these options, Sacred Whip, Ceremonial Dagger, or Death Smear, are good magic find weapon options. Here's some assorted magic find chests, magic find helmets, and magic find offhands. Below is a list of satanic potions and their effects. I recommend damage options first, then build into some utility, but the choice is really Here's a detailed starter highlight filter made by me specifically for this build. This ensures that you will highlight exactly what you need all the way to hell. Below that, I do explain how I put this filter together so that you know exactly what is being highlighted if you want to make changes. Remember that highlight filters do not hide any items. You need a filter in order for that to happen. If you're not sure how filters work, be sure to check the written guide. I do have a bit more explanation on how filters work, as well as I do have the beginner's guide that goes really in detail on how filters work. Again, this is just a high, and that's going to wrap up this starter build guide for the Summon Necromancer in Season 5. I truly hope this guide helps you in your journey. It was a ton of work and I can't wait to see how blown away everyone is by Season 5. Be sure to check out more starter builds at the end of the written guide or via link in the description. Hit that subscribe button to let me know you want more Hero Siege content, and come say hi on Twitch at twitch.tv/Graxy_TV for live Graxy fun. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.